Hello and welcome to your weekly technical update, your guide to the charts that matter this week. I'm Andrew Gagan. Well, let's begin with analysis of our local market with a focus on the ASX 200. And while we're seeing significant momentum on Wall Street, Gary Glover from Novus Capital says that's not panning out here.
We can see here that this market, after it came out of that COVID low, went 1/8 of that range extension before it sort of cooled off here and pulled back into the range again, came back to the 3/4 of the range. It stayed at that 1/8 for quite a while before it was able to get to the 2/8 and then the third range, and then it eventually expanded to the 50% of that range, which has pretty much sort of killed that market. It had a pretty sharp pullback all the way back to the 100% of that range there. So again, that's sort of, again, one of the reasons why I did like that April low was that you're really just coming back and sitting on top of that COVID high. And we know, like trends, they tend to sort of build on top of previous highs. And yeah, so the key thing here is we're now sort of hovering around that 9,000 mark, which is sort of like 2/3 of that range. So look, these are just sort of guidelines in terms of and levels where we might see some resistance there. So when you start seeing multiple months or multiple weeks resistance at a key level, that's when you can potentially get a pullback here. So it's quite interesting there that the XJO is actually showing resistance at a key sort of GAN sort of level here, and that is sort of 2/3 of that previous range as well. And that's a pretty sharp move out of that April low to a new high in pretty quick time. Normally that range there only goes about 150% of that previous range. So that's probably where we're at the moment. So I think it's interesting here that we're seeing pretty strong resistance around that 9,020. So that resistance could grow there, and potentially there's we are sort of seeing some resistance there. That means potentially we might be able to pull back from here. So,
well, the gold price has pushed new record highs, and that's propelled local gold stocks higher. Gary Glover focuses on the largest listed producer, Northern Star.
That can be sort of topping action there, because they say volatility occurs one of two places there, obviously at lows or at the highs there. So once things start getting loose, that can be sort of topping action. So we saw that action there sort of from sort of 17 through to 20. We saw it get loose at the end before we started to have a big decline here. So again, this bull market here sort of running through from 22 has been pretty tight most of the way here, but it's now starting to get a bit loose, and that is sort of topping type of characteristic. So I think this is a bit of a warning sign here for gold stocks there. Just this sort of loose price activity normally sort of comes at the end of moves or this volatility. So I've sort of highlighted a few of those price ranges too, and the volume. You can sort of see those first weeks off the high there have come in some pretty heavy selling here. So just going to watch this one. It might be able to go to a margin new high up here, but we are seeing that very volatile, loose behaviour that you typically see, just preceding tops here. So I just think this is a bit of a warning sign for gold stocks here.
Well, for a different perspective on the locally listed gold stocks, let's hear from Violetta Todorova from Leverage Shares. She says if investors are looking for further exposure in the sector, it's worth taking a look at the charts for Capricorn Metals and Genesis Minerals.
The stock is in strongly overbought territory, just like gold it is at the moment. So I'm expecting to see a little bit of a pullback in gold prices, and of course in the share price of Genesis Minerals to around $4.90, where I'm expecting to see some strong buying interest arising. My longer term upside price target for Genesis is around 650, but I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of 2026 the stock is trading to around 750.
All right, so Genesis looking really good there, and Capricorn also on your radar there, Violetta.
Absolutely. Capricorn is really looking good. The uptrend is firmly intact. The RSI is showing that momentum conditions are extremely strong. The stock is trading currently at around $11.80. Of course, it's also in overbought territory given its massive run. So I wouldn't be surprised if I see a pullback to around $10.80, which it would be an indication that investors should start accumulating. My longer term upside price target on the stock it's $14, but by the end of 2026, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the stock trading at around $16.
And that's it for this week's edition of The Chance to Watch. Join us for more technical talk next week. Happy trading.